It's Friday! The boys are back in town! Hey! Reverend Tony, it's Friday!
It is. It's Friday. We made
Oh,
it to the end of a week.
we made it to the end of the week, but your voice didn't!
No, unfortunately.
Bit croaky, but we did say we were going to see how we get on, so do bear with us and do be gentle with my good friend, Reverend Tony. Where have you been? What you been doing? What are you up to? And how are you? In the shortest possible sentences possible.
I'm okay. I'm okay. A lot gone on over the past few months, but I'm fine. I'm fine, apart from feeling a bit manky and having a bit of a croaky throat. But brilliant, brilliant. How about you?
Yeah, it has been quite a ride and adventure. And do you know what? Even though I know, I mean, we haven't actually had a two revs in 2025, have we? This
No,
is this is
no.
this is the first of 2025. And yet, as we sit here, I'm looking at you on my screen and surrounded by the blue and the comments coming down the side. It doesn't feel that long. So I'm trying
No,
to think what has actually happened that I could actually say that would be pertinent because it doesn't feel that long. It's really, really, but I love the way that works. And I mean, it, to be fair, it's not the first time we've been together this year in terms of work,
no.
because we, of course, had a special guest on Little Port's Divine Service online last Sunday. Let me just stop my camera wiggling. Um, that's new. I've got a remote control from the camera. Um, um, so we had you on as our guest medium last Sunday, which was wonderful. And it was a nice schmooze into coming back online together. But just been keeping busy, doing the work, doing workshops, the usual. We have had some difficulties as well, and there's been some rough times. We've had some sad news at Littleport and indeed the Alliance this week. One of our membership, the wonderful Rusty, who is the most willful, stubborn, awkward and yet beautifully wonderful people that I've had the pleasure of welcoming into our church, is not long of the physical and will be taking her transition to the spirit world very, very soon. She kept it quiet, so she's a pain. But I can accept and understand her reasons for doing so while still being annoyed. It's okay to be of mixed feelings. So we had a special service for her last night, um, so that we could let her know how we felt about her as she took that transition to the spirit world. And I think that's actually important. I think we should be more honest about how we feel about people while we've still got them in the physical sense, because it's
Absolutely.
very, very hard to hug a spirit person.
It is. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because I was at a funeral yesterday for a good friend's mother-in-law, and God love her, she'd got liver disease, she had all sorts of other things going on in her life. Then she got diagnosed with cancer, which went into remission. And when it was in remission, she died of an intracranial hemorrhage,
Yeah.
which, I mean, while we were preparing for the worst because of a long dragged out illness with cancer, it went to her. We thought, phew, she's going to be okay. And then she
Yeah.
went. So, absolutely. Tell the people who matter to you in your life that they matter to
Yes.
you.
Absolutely. It's understandable and reasonable and acceptable to do it through spirit communication, but it has a huge amount more. So that's one thing I've noticed. I'm having to watch my P's and Q's a little bit more. I am out of practice. at watching my P's and Q's online. It's much more meaningful in terms of the living experience to do it whilst we're here.
And it builds
Um,
those physical memories that can carry you through the grief.
absolutely.
I mean, there was a beautiful, the celebrant did a beautiful job yesterday of celebrating this lady's life. And it was absolutely amazing. But it was all about um, grief is the hard work that you pay for loving somebody,
Yeah,
which is so true, so true.
very, very, absolutely agree with
Oh,
you.
I was trying not to mention who it was, but Claire's just put, we got to spend an amazing Christmas together, drinking plenty of baby. We did, and it was absolutely amazing. It was a beautiful Christmas, Claire. And I was
Yeah,
privileged to be a part of Christmas and yesterday.
bless you. Well, my thoughts indeed go to all of you um, involved in yesterday, because sending out your thoughts to people is no small piecemeal thing. But I think it's important to let people know that you're doing it, because it also makes another impact. One of the things that I've learned since our last time together, so I was reminded by Cherry Ann, who's watching. Hi, Cherry Ann. I was reminded by Cherry Ann of a video of Gordon Higginson that was recorded in 1969. He did an interview for ATV, and it was one of those really hard to watch ones because the cutting and the editing was very, very slow. So, it could be a very hard watch. But then when he was speaking, he said about healing. He said, "Of course, I don't think that we can help and cure everyone." And the reporter picked him up on it, and somebody said, "Oh, here we go." And the response was really, really surprising, but also wonderful. He said, "Because I don't think we're good enough." He says, "We certainly feel that you can provide a better healing experience if it's of the spirit and of the physical, if those two worlds work together. But I don't think humans have attuned well enough to be strong enough healers, and we need to work on that. I'm paraphrasing now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we need to work on that. And that important point about the physical and the spiritual in unison makes more of an impact. So letting people know that you're thinking about them, letting people know that you matter, is as the laying on of hands.
Mhm.
So let me just uncheck my phone, because I think my phone's still connected to my Bluetooth. So I don't want that interrupting me anymore. All these things that I need to remember to do now. So yeah, I think if you're absolutely right, and in actual fact, I think I said something similar last night in terms of the memories that carry you forward are so essential, so essential. So I completely, as always, agree with you, Reverend Tony.
We
But
don't always agree, but
we don't,
that's what,
no, we don't do it.
no, no, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun.
I think I would be right in saying, though, I think we agree on the things that matter
Absolutely,
the most,
absolutely.
you know. Um,
Yeah. I'm just trying to catch up with the comments. We haven't even said hellos yet.
yes, we're out of practice. Look, let's go back to the beginning, shall we? And start right off. We did have the countdown, and I will go from one because Kaza was watching and counting us in. She did remember. Hello, Kaza. How you doing? So yes, welcome along, Kaza.
And then Claire, hello, my dear. And
Thank you.
congratulations as well as yesterday's commiserations.
Ooh, I'll have to tap you up on that one.
Hmm.
There's Daryl. Hello, Daryl. Good to see you, my friend.
And bonjour, Sherry Ann. And thank you, Daryl, and everybody who said they're sending me healing for my throat. It's really appreciated.
and she's in the house. It's Mama B. Hello, Mother.
And hello, Eunice. Bless you.
And hello to Cassandra, my niece. Hello, hello, hello. And no, 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 no.
Emma. Yeah. Hello, Emma. And
Good to see you.
returning to places, special places like that, can bring you some comfort.
Absolutely, absolutely. That special place is a very special house because Emma is a granddad is Reverend Allen. You've just seen the surname, haven't you?
It
Yeah,
just didn't connect.
yeah.
It didn't
Bless
connect.
her.
But
So
yes,
yes, I do pass by every so often, Emma, and I do send up a thought. Although I don't have to send up a thought because the what's it is frequenting Littleport left, right, and centre, giving me what for, as I'm sure you would expect. But thank you for that, Emma. It means a lot. It really does.
and so
Sarah McGecky! Oi, oi! All the way up in the north. Good to see you, Sarah.
and I
And
think, is that everybody?
you got
Oh,
one more.
Samantha. Hello, Samantha.
Hello, 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 hello. So, welcome back, everyone. It's been a while, but the boys ride again. I will be updating the logo in the top corner to the Ride Again logo because it's a new series, it's a new season.
It
The
is.
two Revs ride again. Do you know what? My t-shirt's in the laundry because I've been wearing it all week to remind me that we're coming. It's been my go-to. I'll just throw something on. Two Revs t-shirt. It'll remind me we're back on Friday.
Oh, right.
So it's been wonderful, and I've seen. This will make you laugh, right? Okay. I sat doing circle, and there were mugs and t-shirts in circles, being one. I'm like, okay, somebody's trying to drop a hint. Um,
Yeah, there are some excited people about then.
yes, you could say that. Do you know what? It's funny, really, because even though, I mean, it's what, 4 or 5 months, if not more now, since the regular afternoons of a Friday, it reminds me that even though it's been that amount of time, at least once a week I've been asked, so when are the two Revs coming back?
Me
So when are
too.
the two Revs coming back? And it's just like, oh,
I like,
um,
I like,
it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. And you know, you were all bright and breezy and bold voiced on Sunday, and then 6 days later you're croaking. But I have to say they're looking after you because
they
the
are.
healing must be working because it sounds better than when we started.
It's getting there. It's getting there. So I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy. Yes.
So,
Uh,
things to remember. I am reminded that it is now at this point that I must say we are together for but a short time. So, if you've got any thoughts, opinions, questions, subjects that you want to bring up, we are here for you because with the wonders of modern technology, there's the conversation. As part of the screen, you are up there with us. So, join in the conversation, talk amongst yourselves if you wish, of course, but ask us, get us to talk about things. This is your time where you can lead the conversation. So if there's special subject, a special topic, something that you've thought in the last 5 months, I wonder what the boys would say. Just be very careful what you wish for.
because we may tell you.
We certainly will. Certain things really got our goat collectively over the last few months. But seriously, my friends, this is the opportunity to discuss and lead the conversation. So I'm so out of practice on what to say. It's
I
ridiculous.
know. I know. Yes, Kaza. It's quite an immense cup.
It is, isn't it? I do love it.
Ohana means family.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yes, Kaza there. Oh my God, your cup. And yes, it's quite warm down here too. I went up the street to get some other puffers are available. I went up to do a bit of a replen and get some drinks. Other sodas are available, but everybody knows which one I have. Um, and there were shirtless people wandering amid the greenery, and it was like, but it's April.
Yes.
Not that I was complaining, but it's like summer's kind of starting to enforce itself already. So 20 degrees up in Bonnie, Scotland for an April is quite special,
Yes. Yes.
and it does help raise the vibration.
Yes, it does. It does. And everything feels better in the sunshine. um,
Uh, it does happen from time to time, Sarah. Usually on days that end in S. Um, oh, it's 18 in 444. Um, oh, that's an interest. There's a question for you, Tony. Is Lilo and Stitch holding beer?
no, unfortunately, it's just juice. So
I think today's going to be a bit of a getting back together and a bit of fun because
it is.
I can tell you she's got no room to talk. Because one of the things we did last night for Rusty was have a toast of Baileys because Rusty likes Baileys. So does my mother. Um, and we all had a bit of a toast. Now, I did try and find a bottle of alcohol-free Baileys for the drivers. I couldn't, so I bought some chilled cafe latte and a can of whipped cream. Um, Anastasia, Rusty's sister, took the remainder of the whipped cream home. And there wasn't much Bailey's left, was there, Mother? Because Rusty has a lot in common with Mother in terms of favourite drinks, doesn't she? But no, it was lovely, lovely having a wonderful toast.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, mum likes Baileys too. Oh, there you go. My first strike of the day. Um, so yeah, Sarah followed up there, didn't she?
Yes, considering we're normally up to our knees in snow, lambing season. Oh,
Yeah,
I love lambs. Little baby
definitely.
lambs.
Oh, of course, no.
She's travelling.
Yes, he has escaped into a different area.
She
Shush.
has. Yes, we will.
Yes.
We will stay quiet.
That's twice I've been told to keep my mouth shut today.
Mhm.
I see a theme forming here, Tony.
So do
But
I. So do
so, out of curiosity, because it is a catch up, it is get back into it. What have you noticed over the last week or so, for example? Let's keep it current, I suppose. What have you noticed over the
I.
last week or so in the world that has had a spiritual impact upon yourself?
um, I would say for me, the big thing at the minute is people people's uncertainties creeping back,
Mm,
and things are a little bit. We don't know what to do. We don't know whether to plan for things. We don't know whether to do things. We don't know whether to. And the vibe I'm getting, especially from groups I've been in and meetings I've been in, has been very much we're playing it day by day
mm,
because of all of the.
yeah.
I mean, it's going to come up at some point, but America sneezes, 18 months later we get a cold, you know.
Yes. Yeah,
So
there was no way it wasn't going to come up, was it, Tony? um, yeah, and this is the thing in the world in which we live. Information does flow a lot quicker, a lot easier, and I think 18 months is pushing it these days. To be honest with you, because everybody can see that it's about to sneeze rather than find out it sneezes, and that's half of the problem. I think I've said this before, and I will keep saying it as long as the cows come home. Social media and the ability to communicate within an instant is a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I think sometimes what is communicated leaves a lot to be desired.
yes,
Um, there was a subject that came up, and I think this is appropriate and ties in with that. Much of what we see today on social media is fear mongering deliberately, because there is such a thing as clickbait. And for those that don't know, people deliberately post things that are going to wind you up, annoy you, frustrate you. Um, thank you, Jerry. Things People post things deliberately to annoy people, just to get a reaction. Because the minute you start clicking on, commenting on, sharing, reacting to that particular post or video, they start getting paid for it. And so they've come up with this idea of, if we frustrate and annoy people, we will get um, clout.
yeah,
These are the same people, in all likelihood, that criticize the press for doing that. But that's exactly what the press does. And now people have realized that they can earn a few quid out of it, and they get themselves a name for being rather loud, aggressive, abusive, and make an absolute fortune out of it, whilst everyone in the middle of it all is left feeling torn apart and separated. When you look at that, and this is a phrase I've used a lot lately too, this pendulum of society, you've got I still genuinely believe, very few people on the far left and very few people on the far right. And most of us fit somewhere in the middle to one extent or another, with no real Mardy impact on each other. But when this doom and gloom, as Mum calls it, doom and gloom merchants, when these aggressive posters who are clickbaiting start whipping up a storm, the division in the middle starts to pull people apart, where people end up either feeling pulled or feeling pushed to one direction or another. And I think that we need to. I'm going to be quite blunt and brutal about this, because I have gotten a little bit harder in my old age in terms of, don't beat about the bush, just say it as it is. Even in the last few months, grow a pair and start looking at things with our own perspective, our own eyes, and not be led as soon as we see something. If you go on there with the view of, is this clickbait, you don't get pulled into it.
no,
And governments, media, and the general public all now make use of this propaganda like clickbait. And it divides us, when in actual fact, most people will sit around a coffee table, half a packet of custard creams, a few jammy dodgers, and a pot of tea, and figure it out amongst themselves without causing any real difficulty. But once we let that speed of information influence us with these things like clickbait, I think that's where things start to get pulled apart.
yeah,
And I think we should be mindful of that, because I don't know about you, but I've seen it an awful lot within this movement of division and separation, pulling people apart. You're either with us or you're against us. What absolute trite. Everyone's got an opinion on something, and it will vary somewhere along that pendulum.
yeah,
And I think, like I said, so long as you are not on the very far reaches of that side or the very far reaches of that side, most people figure it out amongst themselves
They
with
do,
very
they
little help.
do, and I think that's the thing. We should be looking for the common ground, not the differences. I mean, for institutions to say things like your views are not compatible with ours is a bit
Yeah,
nonsensical because it's we've got to find that way of working together
yeah,
and not saying, "Oh, you can't come and play with my toys because you believe X, Y, and Z." You
absolutely, absolutely.
know.
And I think in terms of the flip side of that, yes, absolutely. That second line in the side text there, but that last line in that line there, the division gets wider and wider if we allow it. Bang on.
Mhm.
Bang on, Claire. And I think, if you look at some of the topics that have been really heated over the last 12 months, but specifically since January, um, the flip side, I'm being good, Tony. The flip side of that was something that I saw this week, which was completely opposite to the division, although it addressed it. And believe it or not, one of the most spiritually uplifting, wonderfully uplifting, socially uplifting things that I've seen this week, and I can't believe I'm saying it myself, was on Celebrity Big Brother. Michael Fabricant and Danny Beard. I thought that the moment that they shared together in terms of honesty and compassion was just wonderful. And it was, you couldn't get a better blend of chalk and cheese.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
yeah.
Personal lives aside, they are pretty much chalk and cheese. Hi, Joanne! Hey! See, this is why we have to leave it 4 months between shows, because then Joanne joins us before we finish. Hi, Dal. Yeah, it was absolutely Daryl. Big Brother got me this week. It was a clip on their YouTube shorts, and basically, Michael and Danny were talking, and Danny said, "You're filthy, you are." He says, "You're really, really naughty, aren't you?" And they started giggling together. And Danny says, "Come on, Michael, let's get our wigs off and jump in the hot tub." And Michael made some kind of witty comment, and Danny just turned around and looked at him, and he said, "Do you know what? I really didn't think I was gonna like you, but you're dead funny, you are." And Michael said something along the lines of, "Well, I feel free." And there was this sudden look of horror on Danny's face. You feel free? Yeah, not being an MP anymore. I feel free to be myself. Everyone's got to be themselves, Michael. He said, "Yeah, but I didn't feel that I could." And Danny then turns around and says something that was so essential in this day and age.
Mm.
He said this: "You know what? I thought I was pretty open minded, but I actually think I was a bit prejudiced because I really didn't think I was going to like you. But you're wonderful, you are." And they hugged, and Michael Fabricant gave him a peck on the cheek, and they had a giggle, and they had a laugh, and they went off. And I didn't see whether they jumped in the hot tub together or not. That would have probably been one step too far for me on a weeknight. But it was just this compassion and realization that you know me. I think I'm open minded. Actually, maybe I'm not. And two friends were made. Don't get me wrong, they might prove me wrong, and by the end of their time together on Celebrity Big Brother, they're probably pounding 10 bells of what's it out of each other. But for that moment, there was a mutual respect born out of diversity, and I thought it was wonderful. So say what you like about CBB, I do. I'm not the hugest of fans, and we certainly don't watch it every night at home. But I thought that particular moment was a really strong sign of hope and definitely a direction that we should think about in terms of removing that division and
Yeah.
that separation. So rant over.
No, I completely And it goes back to what Claire was saying. It's about finding how we can live in the middle rather than on the edges and being divisive.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was you or me, but we just had a little bit of a technical hiccup, but I think we've caught back up now. Can you still hear me? Oh, this is interesting. Question is it you or me? Can you hear me, Reverend Tony? Hello?
I'm back. I'm back.
Well, it wouldn't be a Friday afternoon without a technical glitch, would it? I think it might not have been me. Tony will be back. Let me open the screen. So, yes, in the meantime, hello everybody. Welcome back. It's the two Revs and best laid plans of mice and men, often torn asunder. Hello to Michelle. But let us know your thoughts. Joanne, you can. I think there was a bit of a freeze in the system, so just let me know, guys, that you're there. And has anybody else seen the Michael Fabricant Danny Beard scene? Did they know what I was talking about? Have you seen it? What did you think? Did you see it in a different way, for example? Just here. Hang on. Here he is. Here he is. Are you back, sir? Oh, are you back? Is that a yes? Are you back, dear? Can you hear me?
I think I can hear you.
Oh, that's something. That's something. There's a bit of a
Yeah.
stagger. Can't comment. Haven't seen it. Oh dear. I think the internet is playing
I
up.
think it's our connection.
You've caught back up now, I think.
Yeah. I think it's our connection for some reason. It's jittering and I don't know what's going on.
That will be the warm weather. See, not many people have been watching CBB. Joanne hasn't seen it. Kazza hasn't seen it. Do you know when we're done? Before I go and cook tea, I've only got to slap an admiral's pie in the oven. Fish pie tonight. Before I do that, I'll share the video on the two Revs Facebook page for the group, which we
Yes.
haven't used in quite a while.
No. I've only seen that clip on YouTube and Facebook. I've not watched it, but yeah.
We are not alone though. Michelle's seen it. See, I wasn't dreaming. There's always that worry. When you're a medium, sometimes you worry that you kind of had a vision. I think the internet's against you, Tony.
It's bullying me. It's bullying me. That's what it is.
I'm gonna be in trouble when I see you next, then, because it's not homemade. It's what's colloquially known in this house as a prick and ping.
It's what?
We're back, all right. Prick and ping.
Gotcha.
You get a fork. You
prick it.
You prick it with the fork, and then you put it in the microwave until it goes ping.
Yes.
So it's just a prick and ping. But I do make my own stuff most of the time, to be fair. Yeah. I can't believe you never heard of prick and ping.
No, I thought you were telling me your was pink.
Oh, we are riding again. Save this one for the Christmas blooper reel, eh?
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, look, we're
yeah, it's begun. We are back.
We're amusing people, which job done. If we've made one person smile, job done.
Absolutely. In actual fact, apparently.
Oh, Darren Peels.
Daryl Peels and Pings. Moving on to a slightly less sensitive subject. I must say, one of the things that I've been looking a ping a dinger.
Yeah, yeah. What Karen said. What Karen said.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys are
And
definitely
Mama.
back in town. Yeah, and Mama too. Mama too. Um, J Rose. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Jay. How was your dressage?
Ooh, a dressage.
A dressage.
Oh, is that the horsey thing?
Yeah. Joe works in a riding school
Oh,
and looks after
wow.
horses. Yeah. And he
Wonderful.
competes in dressage and has medals and cups and everything, bless him.
Fantastic. Well done. Keep up the good work. I used to work with someone called Carl who used to do a lot of that. I tried to get me into it, but I was a bit simple. Um, yes. So keep up the good work, Jay. And here's Eddie's typical Eddie. Time being an issue for Eddie. Good to see you, my friend. I do like that. Reverberates.
Yeah, yeah. It
That,
feels
that
quite apt today.
that should be the name of the blooper reel. The two reverberates ride again. Um,
Oh, fantastic,
oh, well
Jay.
done, Jay. Well done. Came fourth. Fantastic. Fantastic. We're getting lots of comments on the microwaving. Mick and Dave.
Yeah.
Nobody said microwave yet.
No, no.
But yes, I do want to just address a comment that was made about microwaves. Because one of the things that I've been learning about in our time apart is, thanks to the lovely Sarah McGecky, organites. Organites,
Oh,
which are resin-based items. Sarah makes these herself. In actual fact, this was one of her first ones because I kind of got in quick. Um, it's a mixture of metal and crystal and resin. And I know that they are a little bit divisive in terms of opinion, but what I have noticed, um, Sarah did a wonderful, interesting experiment with a with an electric charge ometer kind of device. I'm just showing my ignorance now. A thing that reads electric charges and magnetism and all that sort of thing. And when the organite is in the way, it reduced the level of energy that it was pushing that direction.
wow.
So we've been experimenting with them, and I've got a friend, Reverend Adi. When he comes up this summer, he's got a load of really sensitive equipment. So we're going to do some proper, deep, and meaningful experiments. I'm going to be nice as my mainstream psychic side has a real time working on. Yeah, I know, and that's why I said it the way I did. It's okay to not agree. We actually spoke about that earlier, and I think this is important. And be honest with you, in amongst the discussions about why we call it a Mick and Dave, as in microwave. See, I know it. I figured it out. It's an Essex term. Mick and Dave, the microwave. Um, Physics. Oh, yeah, sorry, I misread your physics. Physics. I always think of David Tennant saying it when he was saying that. When I
Tooth
say
and
it, so
claw, not tooth and claw. The school one.
yeah, it was the school one.
Physics, 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 physics,
Physics,
physics.
physics. Yeah, it's the one with Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer in. Can remember that, but I can't remember the name of a magnetometer thing. Um, we were saying earlier, and I think this is what I love about this grouping as everyone comes together, is that we can disagree with each other and be okay about it because we're respectful of each other's opinions, and have a sensible conversation as to why we have those opinions. And I think if you guys watching today were, spread far and wide throughout the land in positions of authority, the world would be a much better place. Certainly be a lot more fun. Um,
Definitely, definitely.
but yeah, it's okay to disagree, and because that way you can discuss things in a polite and friendly manner, see each other's perspectives, and adjust accordingly. You can't see the. Do you know what? I wouldn't worry, Eddie, because I can see the keyboard and I still can't read. Um, but it's good to have you here with us, mate. And yeah, so I have noticed a difference, because what I tend to do is have this beside my bed, and I actually lay my phone the other side of it. So whether it's absorbing or whether it's shielding, it doesn't matter because it's doing what it's supposed to do. And so me and Adi, when we get together in the summer, we're gonna do some really really wonderful spiritual based science experiments and play with. And they are, regardless, they are. Look at that! Is that not gorgeous?
That's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I
So
love
if anyone wants one, Sarah Magecki has commented on here. You can click on her link and you can go and see and get some because they're very good value for money as well. I've also got a necklace, a pendant one as well. So yeah, they're really really cool. So when we next get together, I'll have to show you my dangly one. Um,
Indeed, indeed.
we're back. Um,
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 I do. I was going to say, if we pick up Karen's comment, it's amazing. She sums things up beautifully.
Yes, absolutely. At least
Um,
when we disagree, we discuss things in a civil manner and not go put it on Facebook and start a drama. He said, she said, dribble. I completely agree with you, my friend.
I think we're being spammed here.
We have a bit of a spammer in the house. Um, that is a spam bot, and that is from what's the other one that we do? Begins with a T. Twitch.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
it's now twitched out. Um, it's still on the side here. Let me see if I can refresh. No, it's still there, but I have twitched them out. Um, oh, there you go. Cherry's got Organite stuck on the back of a mobile and one on a headboard. Um, I don't know whether Eddie was commenting about the spam bot or whether he was commenting about what I'm going to show you in the future.
I think he
And you're
just wants
very
to go.
welcome, Sarah. I realised what I said after I said it. It's
Yes, yes. Oh, dear.
um, so well. If you wish, I'd never say that because they are absolutely gorgeous. But do your orders first, love, because you got to look after the
Yeah.
pennies to save the pounds. Um,
Something I
but
just wanted to throw in.
yes,
I've had, and Jean and myself have had a few people coming to us recently about things which go bump in the night in their houses. And it seems to have been spiking over the last few months since we've not been together. Otherwise, I would have mentioned it sooner. But people ring up and say things have been thrown, things are this, things are that. And when you get there, it's just somebody who's a bit grumpy.
yes,
And one lady, God love her, she said all sorts were going on in the house. And as we were driving to it, I just happened to say to Jean, I wonder what she's doing in the property. And when we got there, she'd remodeled the house bottom to top and gone into the loft for an extension. And it was a previous resident who was a bit miffed that walls had gone and
yeah,
doors had been moved, and we just sort of did the have a chat. Look, Mrs., you don't live here anymore. It's this lady's house with her family, and You know, you may not like what she's doing, but not
Tough.
a problem since.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's funny you should say that. A number of individuals that I've spoken to, even in the last week, have been talking about bangings and rappings and Eddie's back. Funny plants in the loft. Um, Not everybody does that, although I sometimes wonder. But yes, I'm loving the love of Organites to Sarah, because she does make some beautiful, beautiful pieces. So if you do want one, go and see her. She does it proper. Yes, in actual fact, one of them has mentioned it. Is watching today. The other night, banging on the floor upstairs. She was adamant that it was her husband, and he was adamant that it wasn't. And you're right. There has been an up spike in it, and yes, when it's people certainly when it's in a house where there's mediums present, there's usually some kind of work work related reason in terms of development. But when it is, those that are not necessarily involved in this way of life, they do assume the worst. They do get themselves worked up, and it is, the vast majority of times I've had exactly the same situation. Somebody who's just sick and tired of being ignored, making themselves a little bit louder because they
Yeah.
just want to be heard, just like any of us would.
Yes, they would. But I think my thing with it is a couple of people we've been in touch with have had other groups in, and they've been there with their whizzy flashy things and sages and everything, and oh, it's just a demonic portal from goodness not, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
Why are you trying to scare this poor woman out of a house? It's crazy. But
yeah.
yeah,
I have to admit, I do get very grumpy when the instant jump from a certain, and thankfully still small, quarter within this way of life is, demonic this and demonic that. Yeah, have you actually ever met a demon? Because they're a lot more subtle and a lot quieter than that. Because they don't exist. Um, you know, it
exactly.
you know, and it really does wind me up, because it goes back to that whole thing we were talking about earlier in terms of being online. Oh, this clickbait and this winding people up and, driving people down one direction because they want to make a few quid out of them. And I think it's grossly unfair, grossly wrong. And I think, yes, well put. People watch too many movies.
Yeah,
This is why I like what mentioning what Cherry Ann brought up. We searched around the property inside and out, but no logical explanation. So they did exactly what Sir Arthur Conan Doyle used to say: once you have eliminated the probable, that which remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. So deal with the real world scenarios first. Once you've eliminated them, then start looking to a spiritual explanation, but don't obviously jump, and certainly Cherry didn't jump to the, oh my gosh, I'm being haunted negative bull that's floating around the world at the moment.
yeah.
There's enough negativity in the world without the spirit world playing a part in it.
And let's be honest, they wouldn't. They
They wouldn't.
wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
They might get grumpy sometimes, and maybe they do fling things, but
Mm,
they've just been
absolutely. But
having a
think
bit of
about it.
trouble.
If you were on a slightly different vibration to the rest of us, and couldn't be seen by normal means, and you were wanting to make it known that you were there, you'd start getting louder and louder and a little bit more grumpy. Everybody would. It is human nature,
I've
and
always said, um, if you think there's a spirit in your house, which isn't belonging to you or your family, or even if it is, speak to them as you would somebody who'd walk through your door. Just say, "Excuse me, this is family time. Come back tomorrow
Yep.
or not." You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know whether cousin Ruth is still on. We actually had, because you mentioned Sage. I've got to tell this one. Um, I went somewhere. She'll remember this because she knows all about this one. But I went somewhere and they'd been saging, and I linked in, and the person was still there, and they said, "Don't know why they think that's going to get rid of me. All it's made me do is want a roast chicken."
Exactly.
But it was so human and so normal.
It's like
Because
this, the salt in the doorways. The spirit can't step over salt. They don't have to.
no, I was talking about this last night. The idea that you might often hear from time to time, well, they didn't have an arm. They'd lost their arm. Well, they've got their arm back now. What good's the arm? They haven't got a body to attach it to. Their energy. So they can't, no, they can't step over it. They'll just float over it. Instead, as Sarah pointed out, is people watching things like Supernatural and Charmed and all, and as much as I love them, and as much as they do tap into some level of spiritual reality in terms of their source material, guess what? It's not real. It's dramatized to, again, get people's attention and make money. And I'm loving the conversation. Um,
Sorry, a bit of salt's not going to stop them.
yeah. I'm gonna say what people forget is that it takes a huge amount of effort to actually connect from the spirit world. So a bit of salt or a crossed arm or anything like that is just not going to make any difference. That's an important point. Saging sometimes for some can help in terms of intent. But if somebody's really, really grumpy and they were a fan of roast chicken, it's just going to make them hungry. In spirit side, it might help focus the intent of the person, but people don't always. People just hear "oh sage." If you know what it's for and you know why you're doing it, it will have a difference. But it's that intent word that's really important and conditional there, because if you're just gonna waft it about and say, "Oh, be gone, be gone, be gone," you have to put that intent, and it's you that's still doing it. You're using that sage as that favorite word at the moment, tool.
Yeah.
um Carol's not on. I should say it as she would, tool. She says it just like my great grandmother would. She liked it. She was from the same place. So yeah, when it's used as a tool properly with knowledge and understanding, then yes, the intention will have an impact. But people just randomly picking it up and wafting it around and hoping for the best doesn't have an impact.
No,
It,
no.
it, it needs to be knowledge.
It's the intent you're sending out which is important, which is why at the beginning of every service I do, I say a prayer to set intention. Everything we do will be done with love, truth, and honesty.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Um, we're all haunted. I love the fact that Mum thinks that. Have you seen My House is Haunted? It's so funny. Um, Mentioned Eunice's conditional there about intent. We've also said that we didn't bring it up though. If they've come all this way, a bit of salt won't stop them. Eddie, you're a naughty, naughty boy, but I can't help but love you. Um, your sense of humour is one in a million, my friends. Um, there. Would spirit children from my old house still have some kind of emotion? You know what? That's an interesting question. Would the spirit children from my old house still have some kind of emotional link to me now? So would they follow you because they got used to you and liked you? And absolutely yes. You know, you can bump into people down the pub, in the supermarket, down the park, and if you like each other, you tend to follow each other. You know, you get to know each other, you become friends. And I very much believe that those that haven't decided to fully disconnect from the physical world, if they get a liking for you, will hang around. In actual fact, Eunice would agree on that one because she did have an experience of that with a couple of mischiefs who she decided to send over to my mother's house for a bit of a break. And they played havoc. They played havoc and let loose the spirits of joy in Mum's house. So yeah, I do believe that they do get emotionally invested because that's once again a very human thing. That emotional investment is really, really important.
It is.
Um,
It is.
and again, talking on tools, Joanne uses the violet flame to cleanse a house. Absolutely, yeah. I think it's important to work with whatever tool or device resonates with you. Um, yeah, mother asked for. There you go. I knew you should respond to that one. Mother asked for them. Yes, she did. So send them over for a break. Um,
I told them it's a 2-room flat, so now they need to play in the loo.
that's not far from the truth. I don't know about you, Tony. This is because we are coming to the end of our time together already today. Um, don't know about you, but some of my strongest, most insightful spirit contact is when I'm in the bathroom.
Yes.
And I think that's really important because if you look at the spiritual mechanics behind that, you are in the process of cleansing yourself, either externally or internally. We had to go potty, didn't we? You know, it's been 4 months. We've got to talk about ones and twos, haven't we?
We do.
You are in the process of cleansing yourself either externally or internally. Polite way of saying taking a dump. Because you are cleansing your body, your spirit also lightens and begins to glow. I'm just seeing the conversation going on about the terrible two from Eunice's going over to Mother's. And because you are cleansing yourself physically, you're also cleansing yourself spiritually, which means your light is rising, your light is growing, your light is becoming more, and therefore they can see you better, they can reach out to you better, they can connect with you better. Makes them it's like a lighthouse on the edge of infinity. And so the bathroom is a great place to get spirit contact. The good news is, as we mentioned earlier, they don't have a physical form because they don't worry about salt. They also don't worry about, shall we say, the requirement of honesty because they don't see those particular parts. They see your light, not what's in your tights.
It's true. It's true.
And so they see your light, not the things that you are most embarrassed about. So when you do you know what? You're getting a share on that one. There you go. In reality, it's because you're not so full of the SH1T. Ruthie, hi Ruthie. Good to see you. Ruthie gets more spiritual downloads when I'm in the bath. Yeah, absolutely. Just hope they are looking down, not up. Oh, the joys of talking potty in spirit. So yeah, it is absolutely all about that cleansing and that light. And so they don't see us as we see ourselves, and they're not worried about that. So the next time you are performing your ablutions, reach out to spirit. See who's about in your bathroom. It's quite. I don't know about you, but I found it quite surprising just how much a difference it makes.
Yeah, yeah. it's the same as Nick Brown behave. It's the
See?
same as if you take 10 minutes after you've had a shower and you're chilled and just reach out, then it makes a vast difference
Yeah,
to the
definitely,
clarity of communication.
definitely. Well, believe it or not, the time has come already to say goodnight. I I know we usually start winding up around about 5:15, but in deference to Tony's voice and making sure he's still got one for the weekend, we said we'd do the hour, because it's important to look after one. So I've been going on about that all week. Actually, it's important to look after oneself in terms of the work, and we're putting our money where our mouth is on that one. So
Mhm.
it is nearly time to say good night already. But it's so good to be back with you, my friend, and be good back with all of you, having a good old yarn and a gas. Yeah, my niece did have a visit in the shower from my sister, her auntie, which was remind me. We'll talk about that one in the future. But Kaza, enjoy your trip. Um, You didn't miss most of the show. You missed 2/3 of it, Eddie. Sarah says sitting in the power after a shower can literally feel them coming really, really close and quick. Absolutely, and that is the wonderful part of cleanse the body, free the soul, have a good yak. Which is exactly what we've done today. So it's good to have you back, my friend. It's good to be back together.
Yes, and we shall do it same time, same place next week.
Yes, it's a date. We have said so. Um, you know, so do look out for the just a couple of admin bits. Do look out for the group page. I will share that video on there, and I'll also share this video to the group page because it's not attached to Restream. But I'll see if I can fix that. And that is www.facebook.com/groups/the two Revs, I believe. But I will double check that. But certainly keep an eye out on both mine and Tony's page for links, and our time together will just grow and grow and grow because, as it says in the intro sequence, the two Revs are riding again.
Yeah.
So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your time. And without further ado, it's good night from him.
And it's good night from him.